would like to welcome you to today's webinar. My name is Stefan. I'm account manager at Nexoya, and I'm your host and moderating today. In the upcoming 45 minutes, we'll be looking at the super interesting case with Flaschenpost. Flaschenpost, a trusted partner of ours, which we have been working since the beginning of 2024, will lead us a bit through their journey towards a profit-driven performance marketing with AI. And I mean, with great results, as you can see, but we'll be coming to that afterwards. So what can you expect from today's sessions? The webinar is structured in 3 parts. In the first part, as mentioned, Flaschenpost, they will show us on how they embraced AI on their journey, including the challenges, the process and solution towards a profit-driven performance marketing. In the second part, and speaking about wine in general today, we'll show you on how at Nexoya we helped Flaschenpost to create the perfect blend in cross-channel budget management, and also, of course, have a closer look at how we work and how our tool works. And then to conclude the session, in the third part, we'll be looking at the lessons learned together, and specifically on what makes this AI project and our joint collaboration so successful. Of course, there will be time for Q&A in the end. So feel free, if you already have some questions throughout the sessions, to post them in the chat. We'll be looking at them one by one at the end of the session. This in terms of administration, but of course, I'm not alone today. And I'm extremely pleased to introduce Dominic as our guest today. Dominic is co-founder and CEO of Flaschenpost, and he'll give you a quick introduction about himself and Flaschenpost, and of course tell you about what challenges he faced, which led him to Nexoya in the end, and on how the journey together has developed. And yeah, thank you so much already, Dominic, to share all your insights on your journey, on our journey, and of course for being here today with us. And yeah, without further ado, I would already hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. Looking forward to this webinar and sharing a few insights of our mutual journey. Probably to begin with, just a few informations about Flaschenpost. We have founded the company in 2007 with the vision to become Amazon for wine, because we figured at the time that buying wine is way more complicated than it should be or that it could be. So these were also the dark ages of e-commerce. If you remember, Amazon was only selling books, and there was no Zalando and no iPhone either. But in some part, it was also the golden ages, as we'll see in a second. Today, we are the biggest online wine retailer in Switzerland. We have the most comprehensive wine selection, offering more than 30,000 different SKUs. Our team consists of roughly 50 people, and our revenue is some 27 million. And paid marketing played a key role in building the company, and still plays a crucial role. It's a very important marketing instrument and sales channel to this day. We are currently active in 4 channels, and we run some 35 plus campaigns. As far as our challenges are concerned, 14 years ago, Flaschenpost was a testimonial for Google. There was a Google success case to show how a company can grow and build its business with AdWords. It was an entirely different time also. And I realized that when I revisited a YouTube that Google did with us, and you can still find it online, because there were 2 statements in this YouTube video. One was that I told the interviewer that managing our AdWords account requires only 4 hours per week, so very little effort to run this account. And the other statement was that AdWords is the marketing instrument with the highest ROI, we had an ROI of 150 to 200% measured by profit, so insanely profitable, we have to say. And that's what I mean when I say those were to some extent also the golden ages. And I don't have to tell you that these golden ages are over. For us, Flaschenpost in the wine industry, and I assume it's the same for other companies also in other industries, but for us, it's mainly due to two factors that have changed over the years. One is that competition has increased over the years, but then dramatically, and I think that's also something that you can see in other industries, it increased like crazy, you have to say it like this, during COVID, where every wine merchant started selling wine on the internet and also started using paid marketing. And another factor is that complexity of paid marketing increased over time. So the effort grew continuously that was required to manage the account properly. So for us, it became increasingly difficult to maintain this channel as a profitable channel to acquire new customers and to acquire sales. And it became increasingly difficult or even impossible to really understand how these marginal utility curves look like for all our different campaigns, let alone understand that across the different channels in which we were or are active. And at the same time, so increased efforts due to more complexity, decreasing returns due to more competition. At the same time, of course, bid management, an efficient budget allocation, understanding these marginal efficiency curves, that became more and more important, was even as important as it has never been before. So there we were in a very tight spot with regards to a channel that for us, or a marketing tool that for us really has a strategic relevance. And another factor which is very important for our business is seasonality. Of course, the wine business is very strong in Q4 due to the festive seasons. And it's important in order to run an efficient account and to be able to allocate these budgets and resources efficiently to kind of account for seasonality. And we were not able to account for seasonality anymore due to the complexity or increased complexity that I have mentioned. We didn't have neither resources nor capability to do that. And in light of these challenges, we were kind of implicitly trying to find a partner who can help us manage these challenges and even help us secure this strategic channel for us, or if you want to put it in wine terms, we were trying to find a winemaker who could help us make the perfect blend when it comes to perfectly allocating budgets within the different channels, but also across channels. And we were trying to find a partner who could help us also balance efforts that are required to manage the account with what we are spending in terms of media spending, and also balance that with the returns that we get from that channel. And I have shared the situation pretty much as I have shared it now, the pain, if you will, with a friend. And then he said, there are guys, you have to meet them. I know a company, you have to talk to them. I strongly recommend it, or he even said, I urge you to at least meet them, because I believe they can solve pretty much all of the problems that you have just described by applying emerging AI technologies. And I am incredibly happy, I have to say, that we've had that meeting, that introductory call with Nexoya, and I'm extremely happy to be able to say that we can call Nexoya a very important partner of Flaschenpost for more than a year now. Now, how does Nexoya helps us a little bit more specifically in solving these challenges? In essence, I would say Nexoya helps us allocate budgets in the most efficient way and helps us allocate our budget in perfect accordance with the goals that we have. Probably we'll touch that a little bit later also. And they help us do that based on real-time data. And as a result of that, we are actually, for the first time, I would say, in the history of Flaschenpost's performance marketing or paid marketing journey, capable of really understanding how these marginal utility curves look like. So we understand when we reach a saturation for a certain campaign or for a certain channel, given the goals that we have. And that's actually really the first time that we have this transparency and this deep understanding based on real world, real-time data. And then finally, and for me, that's a real paradigm shift. We don't manage our paid marketing anymore by looking at the back mirror. That's what we did historically for almost 20 years. But we really are now in a position, thanks to Nexoya, that we can manage our account forward-looking. So we are really planning ahead thanks to their prediction feature that Nexoya offers. That's something that we'll talk about a little later too. And then there is probably one more thing which I consider to be very, very important, which is the effort that is required on our end to benefit from all these benefits. And that's not an exaggeration, it's really true. We spend 30 minutes per week to do all of that. So we've even been able to decrease the amount that in terms of time that we need to manage the account on an entirely different level. Now, when we look at our mutual journey, which is really a journey of, I would say, mutual true collaboration. It's a journey of, I would say, highest professionalism. And what I love about our collaboration so much is that it's really radically results focused. So at the end, it's really the results that count. And as you can see in a second, results kind of speak for themselves if you look at this journey so far. So we started a little bit more than a year ago in February 2024. And after only 2 months, we were live in this new setup, started to shift and allocate budgets, AI-driven, based on our data. And after 2 months after that very short onboarding period, we were already up and running in these new ways of working. And then another 4 months later, already this paradigm shift happened that I've mentioned before. So we really started to plan ahead and manage our account forward-looking, not by looking at the back mirror, which was for me, with seeing 20 years of evolution of how you manage performance marketing, that was really kind of arriving in an entirely new world. It's really a new paradigm, completely new ways of working that we've accomplished by August 2024. And then you could see the first, I would say, very impressive results already after some 7 months after the inception of our collaboration. We've been able to increase our ROAS by 22% and decrease cost revenue ratio by almost 20%. So very impressive results after a very short time, I would say. What you see here is that we still try to optimize ROAS, I think, as many of us do. And that was our world also for practically 20 years. That was our main metric, our gold standard. And already in January 2025, so 11 months after we started together, we've taken this to a next level, and now we do not optimize for ROAS anymore. Of course, it's still an important guardrail. It plays a role, but we now really focus on profit. So POAS is now the new gold standard. It's also the first time that we are able to do that. So we are optimizing on profit, and we do that based on real-time profit data that we import in Nexoya, so that the tool, the AI, can work with that. And what you can see here, I think it shows a little bit that it's really a journey that we are on. In a very short amount of time, we've been able to go live, to show great progress, but also already taking it to the next level. And I know that there are many more features to come, and I strongly believe that we will be able in the next months also to even take it yet to another level, this collaboration. So it's really also, I would say, a long-term game in a sense, but not a long-term game where you have to wait for years before you can reap the rewards, but it's really a long-term game, whilst at the same time you also can accomplish short-term results, as you can see here. And this is what we've been able to accomplish after this, not even a year. Year to date, we've been able to reduce ad spend by 24%, so significantly, but we've been able to keep the profit at its previous levels. So that's really, for us, it's really next level. And I don't have to say how happy I am about these impressive results.
Thank you so much, Tommy, for all your insights, specifically on your journey. And now looking at it, it's incredible of how much has been achieved in terms of also transformation of ways of working since the beginning of last year. I mean, it's a bit longer than a year. And as you mentioned, these fabulous results, they really speak for themselves. So yeah, we're also incredibly happy to be able to accompany you on this journey and this long-term collaboration. And yeah, I mean, this is what we see currently. Sky is the limit. Of course, we're very ambitious, and we always want to bring performance to the next level. That is always at the heart of what we do. Now, I would like to give you some more insights on how this actually works. How do we achieve these great results? And yeah, what's the functionality of Nexoya? So first, we pull in all the data into the tool. This is mostly fully automated through APIs, specifically for the the general digital marketing channels that everyone knows. Specifically for Flaschenpost, this is Google Ads, Meta, then Bing and Criteo, so 4 channels. But we have over 40 integrators, so we're able to import much more. So basically, every channel that you can wish for, we can also connect to our tool and import the respective data. Then what happens is that all figures are being aggregated to make them comparable. At this point, we can also include additional data. So it's, of course, the analytics data from the customer, then also marketing mix model if it's at hand and relevant to the customer. We have first-party data. In the case of Flaschenpost, of course, we now, since the beginning of the year, work with their profit data included within the tool to be able to then also optimize towards profit. And once we have aggregated these different data, then the actual magic happens, right? So we then run predictive models on a really granular level and predict the performance of each and every campaign an ad set across channels. So basically what happens is that forecasts are done based on a vast amount of signals. So this is, of course, historical data, short-term, long-term trends, seasonality. So there's different cycles that are being included. And then our models, they can really identify this saturation curve on each and every campaign and ad set, which is something that Dominic mentioned it before, was not able to do so before. And the team tried, but did not succeed manually. I mean, with the amount of channels and campaigns they have, it is basically impossible and very time consuming, and specifically to do it real time. So based on these calculations, the expected performance for the upcoming week is then showed in a so-called optimization. So this optimization is suggested in the tool, and it is suggested on how much to invest for which channel, for which campaign, and what the expected performance looks like. This is then discussed in a weekly meeting usually. Dominic was mentioning it. It usually takes 30 minutes or not even. And then you can imagine like that. It's almost like magic. You can then, if you agree with the optimization, with the shifts, which is almost always the case, the team can then, within the tool in the platform, simply apply the optimization by just clicking on it, and then it's all automatically pushed back into the different providers and platforms and automatically adjusted. So it is incredibly time efficient, and this also helped Flaschenpost, Dominic and his team to save quite some time. Then the scenario simulation, as you could hear from Dominic, he's quite a fan of it. And I mean, I can absolutely understand why. So the optimization is at the heart of what we do, right? However, we did not stop there. So since last year, it is possible to simulate different scenarios and look up to 6 weeks so far into the future. So this comes in super handy, as it gives Flaschenpost and Domi much more power in terms of planning. So it's exactly what he mentioned, not looking back in the back mirror, but really act proactively and look into the future. And you can imagine it that way, that basically you can play also a bit around. You can select different scenarios. So you could, for example, say, hey, next month I have a bit more budget on hand. How should we best invest this? Or at the same time, if you need to get more efficient, it's a bit more tricky, then, I mean, why not also divest? So anything is possible. And with this tool, it really gives a notion of what would happen depending on a specific action. And this is very, very useful when it comes to planning, and also give a bit more safety in terms of what could happen and what can be expected in the future. But of course, as just mentioned, we're constantly evolving as a platform. So we also have some other bottles that are aging in the cellar and are waiting to be opened. But maybe let's take a first step back. So when collaborating with our clients, we have realized that there's a big challenge that most of them, specifically in the e-commerce sector, they have in common, which are external factors, right? They are foreseeable, but still difficult to anticipate in manual operations. And I mean, the dynamics are incredible, what happened in digital marketing. So this can be promotions or discounts, right, which might have an impact on conversion rates, for example. So who won't want to buy a nice bottle of champagne when it's at 30 or 50% discount in order to celebrate life? This has a big impact for sure. Then that's for vacations. They happen every year, of course, and they can be anticipated, but it's also at different times, which can sometimes be tricky. Then, I mean, most of businesses, they also do branding campaigns, awareness campaigns. These can lead to more traffic and have potentially an impact of certain campaigns, or mostly if it's brand awareness on all the campaigns. So these are all different factors that can have a big impact on the digital marketing. So why is it so important? they're incredibly relevant, right? Because they have, as just mentioned, a very big impact on the performance, on specific or even all the campaigns, specifically in terms of conversion rate, and therefore also the main KPIs, which in our case, well, it used to be ROAS, now it's POAS. And if not or badly anticipated, this can lead to very ineffective spending. And once the event happens, it is super difficult to react in retrospective. So we always try to be ahead, to anticipate and act proactively instead of acting reactively. So therefore, we have intensively worked on a new feature, which was now released beginning of this quarter. And in order to better take events that are relevant to the customer into account. So in the case of Flaschenpost, again, this could be a countrywide newsletter. This can be a bigger promotion or discount on a specific category. So Flaschenpost and all our partners, they're now able to give this input and also the expected impact of whether it's low or high to this kind of events and really anticipate these. How does this work specifically? So an event that already happened in the past can be marked and input that a similar event happens in the future can be given. Then the algorithms, they learn from an event that was flagged in the past and can then therefore better predict the performance of this future event. It does not have to be exact the same event, can be similar. And then it's also possible to mark the different campaigns that are affected. So this really gives us a lot of power to act, as mentioned, proactively and make better predictions of the future. And our customer success team are currently in the rollout to introduce this to all our partners and to make use of this great new feature. So this already brings us towards the end of today's webinar. Now I would like to discuss a bit with Dominic on the lessons learned, on what really makes this collaboration so successful. And I think we have listed down a few points that we would like to go through with you. And well, it's mainly about the new ways of working. And I think maybe starting when discussing a bit more the data, it is absolutely crucial to trust a new data-driven approach. So we focus, as shown on the journey, on the roadmap of Dominic, we focus on a very extensive onboarding process and really make sure that we can answer all the doubts that the client has. This is super crucial for us because the trust in this automated data-driven approach by AI, it has to be there. Otherwise, it's a constant point of discussion. And therefore, we put a lot of effort into this to make sure that the customers or Flaschenpost was onboarded from the beginning, because it's really a transformation, right? It doesn't happen from one day to another, but it's rather a journey, as Dominic has pointed out. I think that's something that is super crucial. And I don't know, Dominic, if that's something you felt also.
100%, but I only realize now that you've pointed out and that you've managed very well to kind of take us by the hand and supporting us in building that trust. But now that you say it, it's exactly like this. At first it feels a little bit funny because you feel that you're giving away controls, which is true to some extent, but you gain it on another end. Big time, but it's yes, it's definitely a process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, these new ways of working, they're a complete game changer, and that's why we have to put a lot of focus on it and its understanding. And with today's dynamics that we witness in the digital marketing environment, it is crucial to act proactively, right? As mentioned a few times, instead of reactively. And I think that's what we absolutely do in our joint collaboration, specifically with the scenario simulation feature that you were mentioning. Also now with the new feature that are hand. So you were mentioning you're already looking forward to the next to bringing the collaboration towards the next steps. And I think we're constantly evolving as partner and make sure that we can get the best out of the platform. Yeah, but what else did make a difference to you in regards to our collaboration, Dominic?
Just when you speak of partnership, I truly feel that it's a partnership. As I mentioned before, usually what happens, or sometimes happens, is that you discover a great tool, and then the vendor or supplier for the tool provides you with the tool, and then off you go, and you are kind of on your own. And this is really not the case in our collaboration. So we have this, as you described, we have these weekly calls, and they are, for me, they are fundamental. They are so important because it's on an emotional level. You don't feel let alone. So you really have a partner who helps us leverage this tool, and we also need that. In addition to what you said, during these calls, mainly we gain a lot of insights. I mean, you provide the tool, and we can, at any point in time, we can get insights that previously that was not able, but also through the discussion, you point to findings, and you share your insights. And I mean, you see many different customers, so you have all the experience that you bring to the table. And for me, it feels a little bit like this, if you want, veil of ignorance has been lifted, and we're really moving out of the medieval ages of doing paid marketing, and we really arrive in an enlightened era. So that's these insights that you help us provide. That's one thing. And then this point number 4 here, I've mentioned it before already also. We've seen the efficiency gains in terms of numbers, so less cost, same profit, or even probably in the future more profit at lower costs.
We do our best.
But that's one thing, and of course it all boils down to that in the end. But that we are able to manage that and do that in literally half an hour per week, that's incredible. If you also think about opportunity costs, and if you think about the time that is freed up, that's really really amazing. And then most importantly, in my view, the bottom line is that it actually works. If I remember my first conversations, I had a voice in my head saying, "Okay, that's all. It all sounds too good to be true," but it's actually not. It really works, as we can see in the numbers. And as I said, we are in this business now for almost 20 years, and we truly have seen a lot. But my feeling, not only feeling, by now it's really our experience from this 1.5-year journey, is that it's really not too good to be true. It really works, and Nexoya and this collaboration, it's really something different.
Oh, thank you so much for your testimonial. That means really a lot to us, and I think we can just give it back. I think it always uses 2 parties to have a good collaboration and professional collaboration. But yeah, I mean, the numbers show it. It's really successful, and yeah, thank you so much, Dominic, for sharing all these insights, to share your journey with us in this short amount of time since the beginning of 2024. And I think we're already coming to the end of today's session. I think we still have roughly 10 minutes time to answer some questions if there are. So feel free to unmute yourself to ask them directly to either Dominic or myself, or otherwise you can also put them into the tool. Which aspects of the platform would be hard to replace for you and your team if you had to stop using it? I think that's for Domi, for you.
So what would not be able to replace, at least from my point of view, is the prediction feature. So the ability to understand the marginal utility curve, saturation effects, everything. As I believe that would not be replaceable. Bid management per se and budget allocation across channels, I think I mean, we've done it before Nexoya, so there we would find a way, but we would need to throw a lot more resources to the problem than we are doing today. So it would be days and not 30 minutes per week at a lower quality.
In regards maybe the collaboration of the agency after using Nexoya as an AI platform, is that something that is relevant? I think there's plenty of other stuff that has to be done, right? In
Yeah,
addition
absolutely.
to the budget management.
No, I see it. I see it absolutely as complementary. I would never quit collaboration with our agency because, as you say, you are, and that's what I like about Nexoya so much. It's you're focused on a few aspects, and you go very, very deep there, and you help us. And you help leverage the impact that the agency can has. But for instance, providing a proper structure for the campaigns, that's something that still is required to be done by the agency. Just to give one example. No, I really see it as a triangle.
No, absolutely.
So yeah, the agency and us.
And what's your plan for the next 12 months to even optimize further? Maybe I can start. Of course, it's as mentioned, our platform is always evolving further and further. So we try to use these additional features, these new insights, like the events feature that will have a great impact. In speaking of seasonality in e-commerce, there's a lot of things that we can still get better at, I think, and looking forward to anticipate also the festivity season by the end of the year, I would say. That's from our point of view, of course, one of the main points, but really focus on the profit as we're just optimizing towards it since the beginning of the year. I think that's my main 2 points. I don't know if you have anything to add, Tommy.
No, I think it's the same for me. Going deeper with the events feature, I think we start using that, but I believe that there is a lot more. And then probably, if I look around the corner, a big question for me, but I know for everyone is how is AI going to change this landscape, like with the most recent announcements or changes with Google particularly. That's, I would say, something that we will discuss in the next months, and I'm sure.
No, absolutely. You're speaking of moving from a more search engine to answer engine, right? That actually the search traffic decreases drastically. I think that's something that we can already witness mainly in the States, but that is also swapping over to other regions. Is that what you're referring to mainly? Or?
Exactly, and what happens if Google has agency and starts buying for their users and yeah, if I think the whole landscape is going to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
a lot of dynamics, and their data-driven approach comes in handy, I would say. Oh, interesting question in regards to also specifically to wines. To be frank, I have never heard of naked wines. Is this alcohol-free wines? But yeah, there's a one.
No, but it would be a good name, actually. No, naked is a thing in the UK. It's a subscription club member business model. Yes, online retailer. Thank you. They're doing a great job. No, I don't think that we go to the UK. Switzerland is a very, very attractive market still for wine. There is big competition in the UK already, but doing the reverse, probably we could help naked in Switzerland. And that might be something, but we will not go abroad in the near future.
Would expensive year.
Yeah, we've tried that years ago and it didn't work. Probably we could have or should have done it better. But our customers, they were not ready to buy beer with us. But that's something we might look into in the nearer future. But it's not, if I look at my PRIO list of strategic initiatives, that's not the next on the list, to be honest.
Last question also from my side in regards to maybe more Flaschenpost specific business model. I think we hear that there's less and less alcohol consumption also from the younger generations, and I would say alcohol-free, maybe wine or beverages, replacements of classic alcohol gets more trendy. Is that something that you look at closely?
Yeah, 100%. That's very important because the market is really, we've experienced more than a decade of very rapid growth, market growth. We define market as online wine market. And this kind of reversed. Q1 was minus 10%. So it's really tectonic shifts on the way. But there, as always, there are also opportunities, and what you've just mentioned, we consider this not one of the biggest opportunities, and we're not alone in this, of course.
Yeah, of course. Which means that there might be some new campaigns activated.
Yeah, probably.
Performance marketing space that we can then start to optimize. Amazing. Thank you so much for all your answers to these questions. And once again, great to have you here, Dominic, for sharing all your insights on Flaschenpost in general, but also our joint and successful collaboration. Having said that, I think we're by the end of the webinar. Thanks everyone for their attendance. In case there are further questions, we're very looking forward to exchange and also do a bit more deep dive on what we do, since we have been discussing a high level. The topic is still very, very high level. But thank you once again, Dominic.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for the opportunity.
And maybe hopefully in the future we have a speech together on stage in a physical event. That would be, of course, also.
I would love to do that.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.